Welcome back to the deep dive. If you feel like the entire global economy is moving at a speed that is genuinely difficult to track, you are absolutely right.
Yeah, it really is something else.
We are witnessing an incredible velocity of change, and it feels like it's powered almost entirely by artificial intelligence.
That's right.
Our mission here is, to take that absolute fire hose of data and just distill it down, get to the precise, actionable insights you need so you can be the most informed person in the room.
And today, we are tackling, seismic shifts. This isn't about looking 5 years down the line, not really. This is about extracting the crucial operational insights right now from the source material. What AI is doing right now in these, well, really high-stakes sectors.
Exactly. We've got a stack of research here, and it makes one thing incredibly clear.
Oh.
Money, markets, machines, AI is fundamentally rewriting the rules for all of them.
It really is.
So today we're focusing on the three pillars where AI seems to be making the deepest and frankly the fastest impact: finance, marketing, and technology.
Yeah, and our purpose really is to understand that shared foundation, the underlying algorithmic power that's, simultaneously accelerating, securing, and transforming these three massive industries. It's quite something.
Okay, let's unpack this immediately with the human element, because I think the best way to grasp the scale of this change is through the people actually experiencing it.
Good idea.
We've identified three distinct professionals based on the materials, each operating right at the cutting edge of these sectors, and it's all thanks to AI.
Right. So, consider Omar. He's a banker. Before AI, his fraud detection team, well, they were always chasing losses, always reactive.
Playing catch-up, basically.
Exactly, playing catch-up. Now, Omar is armed with these sophisticated systems. They don't just detect weird transactions, they actually predict fraudulent networks in real time.
Real-time prediction, that's the key difference.
It is. And this predictive capability, it saves his institution millions. Millions. And it fundamentally shifts the bank's whole relationship with risk.
Okay, millions saved. Then you have Sana, the marketer. Her job used to be what? A mix of creative guesswork and pretty broad demographic targeting.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Guesswork in broad strokes. Today, she isn't just, sending out email blasts hoping for the best.
Right.
She's overseeing AI models that generate campaigns. And these campaigns are hyper-personalized, down to the individual consumer.
Hyper-personalized. We'll need to dig into what that really means.
We will. And the result? Often, it's a significant doubling of sales conversions, just because the message lands at the exact moment of highest potential influence. It's precision targeting.
Doubling conversions. Okay. And finally, Hamza, the developer. He represents the tech sector itself, building the tools.
Yeah, Hamza's story is interesting. His team used to spend countless hours writing, the boring boilerplate code.
And probably even more time debugging it, right? That's always the painful part.
Oh, absolutely. Debugging. Hours and hours.
Huh.
Now, Hamza is using AI agents, AI co-pilots that autonomously write functional code segments. They test them, they deploy them faster than any human possibly could.
Which must just slash development times?
Dramatically.
Right.
Reducing the product launch timeline significantly.
It's astonishing how one unified algorithmic approach can fundamentally change banking, consumer outreach, and infrastructure development all at the same time.
It really is the common thread.
Omar, Sana, Hamza, they're all being empowered by this transformation. Let's start where the stakes are arguably the highest, the financial world.
Okay, finance. When we talk about AI in the financial sector, the change is, well, it's profound. Because it's a shift from just handling the risks you know about.
Right, the known unknowns.
To actually anticipating unknown vulnerabilities, things you didn't even know you should be looking for. The industry is moving from that reactive response mode to intensely predictive modeling.
Okay, so let's dive into the core applications. Starting with security feels right because that's the absolute foundation of trust in finance.
Definitely.
Fraud detection used to be based on pretty rudimentary rules, didn't it? Like, if a client in London suddenly spends $5,000 in Tokyo, flag it.
Exactly. Simple rules, necessary back then, perhaps, but also easily beaten by anyone slightly sophisticated.
Yeah, predictable.
Now, we rely on predictive models. These things analyze dynamic patterns. They establish a constantly shifting baseline of what's normal behavior.
For every single client.
For every client, every financial instrument, every market segment. It's incredibly granular. They track millions of variables, things like login location, device type, purchase sequence, even the speed you type at.
Keystroke velocity, seriously.
Seriously, all to build this comprehensive dynamic profile.
Okay, so when a transaction occurs, the AI isn't just checking a static rulebook, it's checking if that transaction fits the currently established personalized multivariable pattern for that user right now.
Precisely. And if it doesn't fit, bang, the AI catches the anomaly in milliseconds.
Milliseconds. And I'm wondering, how does this real-time vigilance, as you called it, translate into a real strategic advantage for firms like, say, Omar's bank?
That real-time vigilance is the absolute key strategic differentiator. We saw this compelling case study concerning a Pakistani fintech startup. They adopted state-of-the-art AI fraud detection early on.
Okay.
And what's fascinating here is that this sophisticated AI didn't just protect their clients from direct losses, stopping bad transactions.
Right.
It allowed them to reduce their chargeback rates way, way below the global averages.
Okay, lower chargebacks. Why is that so critical? What does that unlock?
Well, by demonstrating that superior proactive security and that really low chargeback volume, they gained global trust. And that trust unlocked opportunities, faster cross-border compliance checks, easier integration with big international banking partners.
So the security measure became a business development tool.
Exactly.
Yeah.
In a high-trust industry like finance, the mechanism of security becomes a mechanism of business growth. It proves you're reliable.
That makes perfect sense. Now, beyond just protection, AI is also significantly changing the whole user experience, isn't it? We should probably talk about AI chatbots in customer service and accessibility.
Oh, absolutely. The efficiency gains here are just immense. It fundamentally restructures a bank's operational expenditure. Think about it. Routine inquiries.
Like checking my balance.
Exactly. Checking an account balance, initiating a simple transfer, finding a specific transaction. All that stuff is automated instantly, 24/7. These systems can absorb, maybe 70% to 80% of the daily query volume.
70 to 80%. Wow. And what does that do for the actual human customer service team? Frees them up.
Completely. It allows the human agents to focus exclusively on what they're uniquely good at, handling the high empathy scenarios, complex dispute resolutions, maybe intricate financial advising, things that need a human touch.
So you get the best of both worlds, really.
You do. It streamlines the whole interaction. The customer gets speed for simple stuff and real human quality for complex issues. And for the bank. Massive overhead reduction and usually higher client satisfaction scores.
Okay, efficiency and better service. But the ultimate high-stakes application, surely it remains market engagement, algorithmic trading, and risk management. This is where AI moves the most capital, the fastest.
Yeah, this is where AI operates in its dual capacity. It's both the accelerator and the stabilizer, or at least it's meant to be.
How so?
Well, on the trading side, you've got models using deep neural networks, often employing reinforcement learning. They're analyzing everything. News sentiment, market microstructure data, trading volumes across thousands of assets.
All at once.
All at once. And they execute trades at speeds measured in microseconds, chasing tiny, tiny efficiencies that add up.
That speed is undeniably powerful, creates opportunities. But if we're talking about that kind of speed, we absolutely have to talk about the stability factor too, risk management. How is AI providing the brakes for the very system it's accelerating?
That's the crucial other half. The same kinds of models, sometimes the very same systems, are simultaneously assessing systemic risk across entire portfolios. They're constantly scanning for concentration risks, weird correlations between assets that look unrelated.
Hidden dependencies.
Exactly. Hidden dependencies, potential liquidity crises, all those vulnerabilities that a human team might take days, even weeks, to model and understand properly.
And the AI spots them faster.
Much faster. They identify these pressure points and can warn Omar's risk team well before traditional methods would even flag a potential issue.
So it sounds like AI provides the raw speed needed for high-frequency opportunity capture, while also delivering the deep analytical intelligence required to mitigate the systemic risk created by that very speed.
Precisely. It's an inseparable relationship, really, or it should be. But of course, this efficiency, this power, it comes at a cost.
Yeah.
Which leads us directly to the necessary cautionary notes.
Yeah.
We have to talk about the financial risks inherent in these powerful AI systems.
Okay, yeah. The main risk we hear about constantly, and for good reason, is data security, financial data. It's arguably the most sensitive, most valuable data on the planet.
It absolutely is. And the very architecture of these predictive models, well, it compounds the danger.
How do you mean?
To train models that can catch those really subtle fraud patterns or predict tiny market movements, you need massive amounts of data, clean data, centralized data sets, all consolidated in one place.
Which creates a single point of failure. or attack.
Exactly. This centralization inherently creates prime targets for sophisticated cyber attackers. They know that breaching one highly centralized data-rich system yields the biggest reward. So the larger and more effective your AI model becomes.
The juicier the target it presents.
That's the paradox.
And the second major risk, which I found particularly concerning, especially in areas like automated lending or trading, is over-reliance. We seem to be placing increasing, maybe even unquestioning trust in these incredibly complex, deep learning systems, the ones often referred to as black boxes.
Yet the black box problem, it raises a critical strategic question. What happens to market stability or even just individual client assets if one of these foundational models fails or goes haywire?
Right.
If the AI's decision path, based on processing millions of data interactions, becomes fundamentally untraceable by human logic or audit. I mean, if it truly is a black box,
No.
then human oversight becomes more theoretical than practical, doesn't it?
Yeah, you can't really oversee what you can't understand. So if Omar is using a sophisticated risk model and it suddenly becomes unstable because of some unexpected market event, some input it wasn't trained on, how quickly can his human team actually figure out what the model's doing, audit its logic, intervene, and stabilize things before assets are lost or the market reacts badly?
That time lag,
Yeah.
the regulatory lag, the operational lag, that's the danger zone. We absolutely need to maintain robust mechanisms for human accountability, for transparency where possible, and definitely for intervention, even as the machine provides this unparalleled efficiency.
So the challenge isn't just building the AI.
No. It's regulating and overseeing the AI while it's running at light speed. That's the real trick.
Okay, that brings us neatly from the analytical, risk-heavy world of finance into the more creative, consumer-driven sphere of marketing. Here, the goal shifts, right? It's about maximizing influence and conversion.
Yeah, it's a different objective, but the transition is actually quite seamless because the algorithmic foundation, it's largely the same. Massive data aggregation and predictive modeling.
Just applied differently.
Exactly. Instead of predicting a security breach or a market dip, AI in marketing is predicting consumer intent, consumer desire. It's the engine that powers what you could call the hyper-personalized billboard.
Right. And the flagship application here seems to be hyper-personalized campaigns. We really need to define this precisely because personalization has been a buzzword for years. This feels different.
It is different. Old personalization was based on simple stuff, like past purchases or basic demographics, maybe some behavioral triggers.
If you bought boots last winter, maybe show you coats this winter.
Something like that, yeah. Hyper-personalization, though, it's about generating unique, contextually aware ad campaigns tailored right down to an individual consumer in the moment.
Okay, give me an example. How does that work?
It moves way past just knowing you bought jeans last year. It involves tracking your real-time browsing speed on a website, which specific product images you pause on, the tone of the social media comments you engage with.
The tone. Wow.
Yes. And then synthesizing all that disparate data into an inferred psychological profile and predicting where you are in your specific buyer journey right now.
That sounds like an extraordinary, almost uncomfortable level of detail. How does AI actually refine customer segmentation to achieve this kind of granularity?
Well, it doesn't just refine it, it blows it up. It
Yeah.
creates potentially thousands, even millions of microsegments, far beyond those broad demographic generalities.
So instead of targeting, say, millennial parents in the suburbs.
Right. AI might identify a segment like, this specific user consistently browses high-end camping equipment late on Tuesday nights, but only after reading positive reviews of brand X, yet seems to hesitate when the price point goes above $300.
That's specific.
That's specific. And that level of granularity allows Sana's marketing team to anticipate consumer needs before they even fully form in the consumer's mind.
So they know the exact pain point, the likely price sensitivity, maybe even the emotional trigger needed for that very specific microsegment at that precise moment.
Yes, exactly. It's true behavioral prediction, which obviously creates an immense competitive advantage. And crucially, AI isn't just deciding who to talk to anymore.
It's deciding what to say.
And how to say it. It's becoming the primary engine for creative content generation itself. Writing the ad copy, choosing the images.
Okay, the scale of that is what seems revolutionary here.
Right.
How fast is AI actually generating all this content? We're not talking at one ad, are we?
Oh no, not at all. It's incredibly fast. AI is now crafting detailed content, things like drafting blog posts, creating thousands of variations of visual advertisements, even assembling short product video clips, all at a scale that was just unimaginable a few years ago.
So if a brand like Sana's needs to run an A/B test across, say, 500 different microsegments.
Right, a complex test matrix. The AI can instantaneously generate maybe 10,000 slightly different versions of the ad, varying the headline, the background color, the call to action button text, the image,
10,000 versions.
easily. Then it deploys them, analyzes the performance in real-time clicks, conversions, bounce rates, and automatically optimizes the remaining ad spend towards the winning variations, sometimes adjusting every hour.
The efficiency is staggering. The investment in that kind of infrastructure, though, it must lead to pretty massive returns to be worthwhile. Which brings us to that compelling success story we saw in the source material, the clothing brand with the 40% jump in sales.
Yeah, that's a really classic demonstration of the power of applying this deep customer intelligence effectively. It was a clothing brand, and by specifically using AI for this kind of hyper-personalized marketing approach, they saw their sales jump by 40%,
40.
which is huge in retail.
Huge. And the strategic pivot here, the really smart part, wasn't just about selling more stuff today. It was about the AI getting much better at predicting customer lifetime value, or CLV.
Ah, okay. So the 40% jump wasn't just a one-off purchase spike. It signals that the AI was successfully identifying and nurturing customers who were likely to remain loyal and spend more over their entire relationship with the brand.
Precisely. The AI optimizes for the long game, not just the quick sale. It proves that the investment in this tech pays rapid dividends when applied intelligently to customer engagement. It drastically lowers the cost of acquiring new customers while simultaneously maximizing their long-term retention.
The effectiveness seems undeniable. Powerful stuff. But the underlying mechanisms, how it achieves that effectiveness, they do raise some pretty serious questions, don't they? They certainly do.
If AI is getting this good at predicting and influencing our behavior, where does effective, helpful personalization end and maybe unethical manipulation begin?
That is the extremely thin line that marketers like Sana and the companies they work for have to walk every single day. It's a constant ethical tightrope.
When does it cross the line?
Well, when models become so adept at profiling consumer psychology that they can precisely target known emotional vulnerabilities, perhaps triggering an impulse buy during a moment, the data suggests low self-control or exploiting financial anxiety, I think most would agree that crosses into manipulation.
That's a critical point. If the AI knows exactly how to push my buttons, maybe better than I know myself, simply because it's analyzed patterns in my behavior, that really challenges the core concept of consumer autonomy, doesn't it? How much of this detailed behavior modeling is just too much for that ethical line?
It requires constant dialogue, strong internal ethics frameworks, and likely ongoing regulatory vigilance. But underpinning all this effectiveness, both the good and the potentially manipulative, is the absolute need for vast amounts of data, which brings us right back to privacy issues.
Yeah, it echoes the risks we saw in finance, but maybe in an even more personal context here.
I think so. In finance, you're centralizing high-value monetary data. Critical, but perhaps abstract for some. In marketing, you're centralizing high-value personal data. Your habits, your inferred emotions, your location.
Much more intimate.
Much more. When you build these incredibly detailed, personalized profiles of every consumer, tracking not just purchases, but browsing habits, inferred emotional states based on online activity, maybe even exact location data from apps, the importance of consumer data privacy becomes exponentially magnified.
Because a breach is so much worse.
Exactly. A breach in this sector doesn't just expose a credit card number, which is bad enough. It potentially exposes the entire psychological profile used for targeting you. That level of detail makes the data an absolute goldmine for malicious actors, for identity thieves, even for foreign influence campaigns.
Which means things like GDPR and CCPA aren't just bureaucratic hurdles, they're fundamental safeguards.
They are fundamental. Ensuring robust security around consumer data and transparency about how it's used isn't just good practice. It's essential for maintaining any level of consumer trust in this AI-driven marketing landscape.
Okay, so we've seen AI acting as a financial guardian and as a sort of master salesperson. Now, let's shift our focus to the technology sector itself, the industry that is literally building these very tools we're discussing. This feels like the ultimate self-referential application of AI.
It really is. AI building AI in a sense. And the application in the tech sector itself seems centered on two key words: speed and protection.
Speed and protection.
Right. It's about drastically accelerating the creation of new software, new platforms, new tools, while simultaneously trying to secure that rapidly growing, increasingly complex digital footprint that we're all creating.
Right. Let's start with the practical impact on the developers themselves, bringing us back to Hamza's daily life that you mentioned earlier. The AI copilot for code. How is that changing things on the ground?
It's fundamentally transforming developer productivity.
Mm.
I mean, fundamentally. These AI tools are acting like highly proficient coding partners or co-pilots. You can give them natural language instructions like
Like build me a login page.
pretty much, maybe
Yeah.
slightly more detailed, like create a secure login module that integrates with our existing user database using Python. And the AI can generate highly functional code snippets, entire modules, sometimes even whole classes, in minutes.
Wow. Which frees Hamza up from.
From writing all that repetitive boilerplate code. The stuff that's necessary but not really creative or challenging, it lets him and his team focus on the harder problems. The overall system architecture, the unique features, the really complex logic.
But the real time saver, I suspect, based on talking to developer friends, isn't just writing the initial code. It's the endless, painful process of debugging and testing it afterwards.
Oh, absolutely. That's where these tools often shine even brighter. AI tools excel at scanning massive code bases, millions of lines of code, almost instantly.
Looking for what?
Looking for syntax errors, potential logical flaws, inefficient redundancies, or critically potential security vulnerabilities. Things that might take human developers days, even weeks, to find manually through code reviews and testing. The AI enhances quality assurance at machine speed.
And this efficiency gain, it's not just theoretical, right? It's quantifiable. We saw that specific example in the materials of a local tech firm that adopted these AI co-pilots.
That's right. That firm reported that their product launches started occurring in roughly half the time.
Half the time.
Half the time. This effective doubling of development speed drastically reduces the time to market for new products and features. It allows them to execute their entire product roadmap with unprecedented velocity. This isn't just a small incremental improvement. It genuinely changes the competitive structure of the software industry. Speed becomes an even bigger differentiator.
It fundamentally alters the economics of software development, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Faster development, potentially lower costs, quicker response to market needs.
All of the above. But it goes beyond just the individual developer's productivity. AI is also enabling more advanced forms of collaboration, not just between humans, but fascinatingly, between machines themselves. Tell us about this concept of multi-agent collaboration for product design.
Yeah, this is where the acceleration starts to feel almost science fiction, but it's happening now. You can have several specialized AI systems working together autonomously, often managed or coordinated by another overarching AI.
Like different specialists.
Exactly. You might task one AI agent with optimizing the software for low latency and a smooth user experience. Another AI could be focused purely on optimizing database query efficiency. And a third AI might be tasked with ensuring everything meets regulatory compliance standards and is hardened against security threats.
So instead of human teams having long meetings, potentially weeks of debate, trying to balance these often conflicting priorities.
Right. Speed versus security, features versus stability.
These AI agents iterate and refine the product collaboratively. They can test thousands, maybe millions, of possible configurations and parameter adjustments, essentially negotiating amongst themselves without direct human intervention in that core optimization loop.
That allows for an incredibly exhaustive design and optimization process, far more than humans could manage in the same time frame, which should lead to far more refined, optimized products being developed much, much quicker than traditional methods allow.
Exactly. It's a step change in design capability. But, of course, as we accelerate creation, we also need to accelerate protection. Which brings us to the necessary defense mechanism, AI-driven cybersecurity.
Right, because the threat landscape is changing too. The adversaries, the hackers, the state actors, they're also using AI now, aren't they, to craft novel, more sophisticated, more targeted attacks.
They absolutely are. So the defense needs to get smarter and faster just to keep up. Traditional security often relies heavily on signature-based detection, basically, recognizing known threats, known viruses, known malware patterns.
Like a fingerprint database for bad code.
A good analogy, yes.
Huh.
But AI-driven cybersecurity systems specialize more in behavioral anomaly detection. They learn the normal operational baseline of a network or an application or a user's behavior.
What normal looks like.
Exactly, what normal looks like. And then they can identify new, never-before-seen patterns of malicious activity in real time simply because it deviates significantly from that learned norm.
So it can catch zero-day exploits, things that don't have a known signature yet.
That's the goal. Since attackers are increasingly using AI to probe networks for weaknesses, to craft highly personalized phishing attacks that are harder to spot, and even to generate polymorphic malware that changes its own code, the defense needs to be able to learn, adapt, and neutralize those threats at machine speed. It's becoming a bit of an AI arms race within the technology sector itself.
This inherent back and forth AI attacking and AI defending, it brings us directly to the unique vulnerabilities that arise when AI is used so heavily to build AI, or at least build the software that runs everything. These risks feel very specific to the tech sector itself.
They are quite specific. The first major caution, the one developers are grappling with right now, is the potential dependency on AI-generated code.
What does that mean in practice?
Well, think about it. If, say, 70% or even 80% of your final production code base was originally written by an AI copilot, how well do Hamza and his human developer colleagues truly understand the deep underlying architecture of their own system?
Right. If the humans didn't actually write it line by line, they can't possibly have that same intuitive grasp of how it all fits together or how it might break.
Precisely. The maintainability, the debuggability, that deep understanding of the software's foundations, it can become compromised. So if a critical failure occurs in production, maybe under unusual load or due to unexpected input, fixing a black box section of AI-generated code becomes a massive high-stakes challenge.
Because the human team lacks that deep institutional knowledge of the code's origins and its potential failure modes. It could lead to cascading system failures.
It potentially could, yeah. That's a fundamental vulnerability introduced by over-reliance. And the second risk also revolves around security, but in a novel way that the AI itself might introduce.
How so? It's supposed to be finding vulnerabilities.
It is, but this is about the potential for new vulnerabilities being created by the AI during code generation. While AI-generated code is often highly efficient, it might inadvertently introduce complex, subtle security holes that traditional human code review processes might entirely miss.
Because humans look for familiar error patterns.
Exactly. Humans often look for the kinds of mistakes other humans typically make. But what if the AI's training data had some subtle bias or flaw? Or what if the AI generated some highly novel, incredibly efficient code structure that, due to some unforeseen interaction with another part of the system, accidentally creates a new kind of backdoor or an exploit pathway?
Something completely new that no one's seen before.
Potentially. We could be facing entirely novel security challenges that require entirely new methods of auditing, validation, and penetration testing, specifically designed to find flaws in AI-generated logic. It's a new frontier for security research. Hashtag tag synthesis in conclusion.
Okay, let's try and zoom out now. We've covered a lot of ground. 3 massive sectors: finance, marketing, technology, where AI is acting as what? A guard, a salesperson, and a builder, essentially. What's the central universal thread connecting all these diverse applications? What should listeners really take away?
I think the first key takeaway has to be the sheer velocity of deployment. Finance, marketing, and technology are clearly AI's fastest adopters. There's a reason for that.
Why them specifically?
They possess the necessary ingredients: massive existing data infrastructure, clear and often very high-stakes incentives, either protecting huge financial assets, gaining significant competitive market share, or accelerating core product development, and often the technical expertise needed to deploy these complex systems at scale. They're deploying right now, not in some distant future.
Okay, fastest adopters. And the second big takeaway: it seems to synthesize the core gains. Despite their vastly different surface outcomes, managing money versus selling products versus writing software, all 3 sectors seem to be benefiting from the same fundamental triad of improvements. This feels like the core value proposition.
That triad is absolutely key. I'd frame it as efficiency, personalization, and intelligence. Those are the core benefits AI is delivering across the board.
Okay, let's break that down quickly. First, increased efficiency. That's the speed-up factor we saw everywhere. Right?
Yeah, exactly. It's the instant transaction processing and fraud detection in banking. It's cutting product launch times in half for Hamza's tech team. It's the rapid, automated deployment of thousands of ad variations for Sana in marketing. It's essentially doing more, much faster, with significantly less friction.
More output, less effort. Second, enhanced personalization. This also seemed universal.
It did. In finance, that translates to hyper-accurate risk profiles tailored specifically to Omar's individual clients, or personalized financial advice from chatbots. In marketing, it's that truly hyper-personalized advertising that speaks directly to a specific consumer's inferred needs at just the right moment.
And in technology, how does personalization apply there?
You see it in things like that multi-agent collaboration leading to more refined product designs that fit niche user needs more tightly, or even AI tools helping developers tailor software experiences more easily for different user segments. It's about tailoring the output more precisely.
Okay. Efficiency, personalization, and the third part of the triad was deeper intelligence.
Right. This represents the shift from simply describing what happened or reacting to it towards predicting what might happen next. It's the intelligence embedded in the models, catching those subtle, previously invisible fraud patterns in finance.
It's the intelligence that informs the incredibly granular microsegmentation in marketing, anticipating customer needs.
Precisely. And it's the intelligence within those AI-driven cybersecurity systems that can potentially anticipate and neutralize novel, machine-generated threats before they cause damage. It's about deeper insight and foresight.
Efficiency, personalization, intelligence. Those gains are undeniably transformative. But our final assessment, it has to come back to the risks, doesn't it? While the value proposition is massive, almost unavoidable it seems, the risks must be managed proactively to truly unlock and sustain that value.
Absolutely, that's the critical message. Managing the risks, the data security vulnerabilities inherent in all three sectors, the ethical tightrope of potential manipulation in marketing, the code dependency traps and unforeseen vulnerabilities in technology. This isn't optional. It's not an afterthought.
It's the price of entry into this accelerated AI-powered economy. Getting it wrong means the downside could be huge.
It is. Unchecked risk will inevitably erode, maybe even negate, the incredible value that AI is capable of generating. Responsible implementation is paramount.
Okay, so maybe here's a final provocative thought for you, the listener, to consider as we wrap up this deep dive. We've talked a lot about the systems, but also about Omar, Sana, and Hamza, the banker, the marketer, the developer.
Yeah, think about them for a second. They aren't just using new software tools. They are operating at a level of professional capability, making decisions with a level of insight that was, frankly, science fiction just a handful of years ago.
So the real lesson here might be that AI isn't just the new engine of the economy writ large, it's also becoming the engine of professional transformation for the individual.
That's a great way to put it. It enables ordinary people, people doing their jobs every day, to become extraordinary performers in their fields. It radically accelerates their capabilities,
Yeah.
whether that's managing complex global risk, optimizing marketing conversion rates down to the individual, or achieving unprecedented software development velocity.
So maybe take a moment after this to reflect on the specific applications and, importantly, the risks we discussed today. Ask yourself, where does my career, my industry, my skill set intersect with these three incredibly powerful fields: finance, marketing, technology?
Because understanding these underlying mechanisms, how to responsibly leverage AI for efficiency, for personalization, for deeper intelligence, while actively mitigating the risks, that understanding is probably the critical first step toward ensuring your own professional relevance and transformation tomorrow.
Thank you for joining us for this deep dive into the transformative impact of AI across finance, marketing, and technology. It's been fascinating.
Indeed it has. We'll catch you next time for more insights.